Hi everyone and welcome back to Jungle Goddess. So this week I'm sharing a how-to video with you. I'm making cranberries fermented in honey for Christmas, and I thought that maybe you'd want to try it as well. Christmas is 4 weeks away. This takes 3 to 4 weeks, so if you can rustle up the ingredients within the next week, then you can get your own batch started. So this is a nice alternative to a traditional cranberry sauce. Fermenting in honey has happened, it's been going on for millennia. If you've heard of mead, then that's a traditional honey ferment. And there's many different things that you can ferment in honey. But this is my first time doing cranberries, but you know, fermenting in honey, I've done many different berries in honey, so it's a nice easy ferment to start with. So this is what I'm going to be sharing the video on how to make, so enjoy the video and then I'll tell you a few hints and tips and things to be aware of afterwards. Christmas is fast approaching, so if you want to do any fermenting for Christmas, you really need to be doing it now because it needs a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks to ferment to be ready in time. What I'm showing you today is cranberries fermented in honey. So this is a great alternative to your cranberry sauce. What we need is cranberries, honey. This is a raw local honey by Sussex Bee Farm. Cinnamon sticks, orange zest, ginger for that Christmassy flavour, and cranberries and orange go so well together, so I have some freshly squeezed orange juice. Now I'm making mine in a mason jar with a standard lid. It's a 2-part lid for canning. I'm going to be very vigilant with mine, checking it every day. If you're not going to be vigilant with your ferment, then these clip jars are a lot more forgiving. It's because this seal allows gas that is a natural byproduct of fermentation to escape. So it means that any excess gas in this jar is going to escape, where if this one is sealed, that pressure is going to build up. So if you're going to be vigilant and checking it a couple of times a day, then you can use this kind of jar. The safer option is a clip jar. Okay, so how do we make this? Well, you want to be pricking your cranberries with a fork. That's because they have airspace inside, so you want to prick them to help them sink and to help the honey move into those air spaces and for it to ferment quicker. So I'm just going to prick the last few of these. And this really is, fermenting in honey is really simple. So we're going to put cranberries into the jar with some ginger, with some orange zest, cinnamon stick, and just build it up. And going to fill the jar to within probably an inch of the top. You'd want to leave some head space. That's what we call the amount of space that you leave at the top of the jar, because fermenting will expand, the ingredients will expand as the gas produces. So let's get these. Last bit. Let's see if we can get another piece of cinnamon on the top there. Help push it down. Okay. So as you see, I've got a nice mix of cranberries, some orange zest in there, the cinnamon stick. I'm going to pour in the orange juice. And then just pour over the honey. Now this will take a little bit of time to run through. Now honey is very viscous, it's very thick. But what's going to happen is the water content of the fruit here will exchange with the honey, and that's what raises the water content of the honey to a point where honey can ferment. What will happen is, as that process happens, the honey in here is going to become a lot more liquidy. We've also got that orange juice in there, which is going to help that process too. As you can see, I've got some air gaps in here. Now that air will move out over the next couple of days. What happens is an oxygen-eating form of bacteria is one of the first types of bacteria that's active in a ferment. So any oxygen that's in here, it's going to eat through that oxygen. So we're up to about here, a tiny bit more honey, and then I can add some extra honey to this probably tomorrow or the next day if I need to. But that as it is done. I'm going to put the lid on, and then a number of times a day I'm going to be turning this. So just turn it upside down, write it again, and it's to keep that honey moving throughout the fruit and the orange in there. It will also combine it with that orange juice. Now this is going to wait for 3 to 4 weeks. I'm going to be opening the jar, but only enough to release any gas pressure that's in there. If you're working with a clip jar, then that seal will take care of it. Now honey can get a bit messy, so do be prepared to do a little bit of cleanup as well. So leave that for 3 to 4 weeks, and then you can take that cinnamon out. You can take out some of that orange zest if you don't want to blend it all up. You can either leave it chunky like this, or you can blend it into a sauce. So that's cranberries fermented in honey. So I hope that video explained the process well to you. Just a few things to be aware of. So if you're choosing this kind of jar, one that screws down, then be aware this is going to produce gas. So you have to let that gas off. Now you can either open it a few times a day to release gas, or you can just unscrew it slightly so there's a little bit of movement in the lid so that any gas can come out. Now you can use all ferments really need to, certainly fruit and vegetable ferments like this, need to be kept underneath a level of liquid, because that's an environment that bad bacteria doesn't like, because bad bacteria likes oxygen. So usually with a sauerkraut or similar, I would use a pickle weight or some sort of weight to hold the plant material down underneath the level of liquid. With honey ferments, that gets really messy. So the way that I do it is I turn this regularly. So a few times a day I'm turning it. because this honey is already acidic and the fermentation process is going to make it more acidic, and bad bacteria doesn't like an acidic environment. So if you keep covering those with, so those ones at the top, if you're turning it, they're being covered in acidic honey all of the time. So that puts off the bad bacteria. You can use a pickle weight. Just be aware that it gets a little bit messy. I would put it on a plate as well, because when this starts getting active, it can bubble over. So that's why it's important to leave a bit of headspace. The thing is with honey ferments, as you can see, it rises up. So you don't want too much headspace because you don't want that oxygen. But put a plate under, and then if there's anything that dribbles over, then you can catch it and you're not making a mess of the kitchen. So there you go. This is going to be ready. I'm going to be turning this regularly, 2 or 3 times a day, letting off the gas. That activity is going to rise over the next few days. It will then drop off, and all of this will sink down underneath the level of, sink down into the honey. It'll also get a lot more liquidy, and that's because of the exchange of water between the fruit and the honey. So yeah, good luck with it. If you've got any questions, write a note in the comments. Otherwise, wait 3 to 4 weeks, blend it up and enjoy it with your turkey or your nut roast, whichever you're going to have for Christmas. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye.